You know who's making money, 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 Mondays? Money. Jake motherfucking Paul. Yeah, I think I got the right Paul brother. They are making a lot more bank than what's in our set of 100 or 50 or any other set that could be in my possession. So where are we going to go with this? We could go in so many different directions. But I'll start with, if I want to make that Jake Paul money, 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 I'll have to rely on my artistic skills. This is my NFT for sale. This whole thing here. Really, I actually collected these random leaves and blossoms from outside and decorated my filming area. So this is an exclusive, unique, world first. I've no idea how to even explain NFTs. I might be able to if I understood them myself, but I hardly understand them, so we're gonna have to move right on. Thanks to a friend for gifting these currency sets. Most of the currency sets on Money Money Mondays. If they're my own sets from before, I'll usually mention that. Otherwise, it's safe to assume that my friend has gifted all of these sets. Thanks again. Right. Did I research at all where this bill is from? No. Because that would defeat the purpose of this game. I'm playing a speculative game with myself, despite the fact that the sets come with a legend explaining which note is from which country. I often like to leverage my adventure travel from my past into 101 countries. Of course, I've explained before that even though my adventure travel to 101 countries provides me more knowledge than the average person, I think I still make my fair share of mistakes. If you think I've made one, you're probably right. This country, last week, I speculated, was from the more Asian ex-Soviet bloc. Why do I even think that? Well, that's definitely probably ex-Soviet bloc. But the scripting is Asian, more Asian than Eastern European, so that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. If you are so curious, you can check out the partially covered legend. Maybe when I'm finished I'll show the legend. But again, why would I want to ruin my fun with facts? Again, if you want to know things, you can Google yourself. I'm just having fun and taking you along for the ride because I like to share when I'm in the mood. Okay. The motifs are Asian. From the signage to the people. That's why I'd guess Asian, more Asian part of the ex-Soviet bloc. The running joke of me declaring everything is ex-Soviet bloc just serves to highlight actually how big that block was. If it is indeed from where I'm speculating, I would have covered it. All in all, likely this year? I think that depends. I'm trying to guess as to what my itinerary would have been if I had continued on from Turkey. I think I had decided it was going to be the rest of Eastern Europe and ex-Soviet bloc that I'm missing. From Romania all the way to Poland. That would have been my likely circuit, but it's hard to know exactly what would have happened. What gave me that extreme flexibility last year was that I had decided to basically go as I go. Different trips inspire me different ways. We'll go through some of these. Okay, fine. Now that I've taken out the notes covering the legend, here you go. Here's a sneak peek of that legend. If you so want to speculate, you can speculate. Even with the legend, it could be difficult still to tell which country. But in any case, this is what's fun for me. Playing a guessing game. Okay, the Khabib eagle is back. We've encountered Khabib's eagle before. But an update since last time that I vlogged about it, Khabib has retired, even though we knew he had when he first announced it. It's a funny thing with people in the fight game. Just like the whole world, I think people are starting to define their own realities. If you thought Khabib was still active, then you could think that way. I forgot which ex-Soviet bloc that I speculated this is from before. I just know that this and at least the next one are from the same country. Am I doing this right? Okay. I'm about as careful as I can be with these mint rare notes. That's why I'm also gloved up, because I find it easier to navigate. I know some people, actually the professional PMG, paper money guarantee, recommends against gloving up, but that's because they need the dexterity for deep inspection. Currency has value. It's something that one can be an expert in. So, Paper Money Guarantee is one of the organizations that certifies and licenses such professionals. They need the hand dexterity to handle the notes under microscope and whatever the else they do. I just need enough hand dexterity to focus the bill on camera and play a guessing game. That's a lot less dexterity than they need. So I would prefer to glove up. Are we gonna get to one that I can even guess upon at all? We're just continuing on with ex-Soviet bloc, really. Really. This is hard. Maybe one of these days I'll go backwards and annotate my old videos. For really my own purposes. There are many people who deal with currency professionally. I'm sure if you wanted real information, you could go to them. I'm just busy having my fun. Am I gonna wager a guess on this one? I'm thinking close to the Indian subcontinent, like Pakistan or that area. This gives me that vibe. Sometimes people ask me how I speculate. This is just a mix of everything. The lettering, the people, the icons, the historical, natural, other relevant sites. Some people who are actual currency YouTubers have actually helped me deduce in the comments where the bills are from. That's the interesting thing. Even with the legend, you might still have difficulty in identifying. Because maybe they're in a different order. then the legend. Then you'd still have to rely on the Googles. Since this is definitely from the same country as before, we're going to wager a guess that it's Pakistan again, or area, because that's what I guessed for the previous one. This one is obviously from the same country. These mint rare news also sometimes disguise their age because they're all mint rare condition. Of course, that greatly increases their value as opposed to circulated bills, but I'm just commenting from a strict guessing game perspective. Of course, as a collector, I mostly would prefer mint rares because any circulated bills I would have come across already in my travels, that's something that I will leave to be a travel exclusive activity. Okay. We have got some known ones coming up. Okay. Last time, I think I misspoke about Southeast Asian countries. I think in actual fact that is the sickle and hammer, which threw me off. But then I remembered that throughout history we have many examples of communist regimes. This one in particular, if I recall, I'm gonna guess is Laos. It's definitely in that area. Yes, I've traveled to Laos, but even then, it's hard to remember where these notes are from, because the notes that I usually have touched have been circulated, and even then, from what I recall, the circulated iconography could be different. If this is one that's out of circulation, it could actually look massively different than ones that are currently in circulation. Because, as I read last time on the certificate of authenticity, these countries change a lot due to the history of the world. This one I know. This man we have encountered before. It's definitely Croatia. But I still have yet to figure out who he is. I think he's some sort of scientist slash mathematician slash STEM specialist, because he's definitely shown his work, if indeed that's related to him. My guess is it probably is, because I've never known Croatia as a country to be particularly academic. Greece, we all know. That also proves that even week by week, I never really research further the notes that I come across, because I have other things other things to move on to. But that's why, if and when I do, I'll do it really when I feel it. That's why all of my art comes in whenever it does, because I am that kind of artist. I feel it when I feel it. I do what I like doing when I do it. Okay. Ah. Yes. So they're in some sort of... Oh, shit. Okay. Actually, I did it again. I keep swapping Cambodia and Laos back and forth. Because now I realize, if this is alphabetical order, that Southeast Asian node is actually Cambodia. I did the complete opposite last time, I think. I keep confusing those two. Even though they look different enough to each other. Or am I right? Who knows? That's just if this is in alphabetical order. But maybe it's in a different order. Size order? Who knows? If I'm just trying to think based on the bills that I'm handled. I gotta make it a toss-up between those two. As a curiosity, though, I think of some of the earlier vlogs that I fact-checked, I was alright enough. At least a passing grade. Maybe even more. Ooh. So now that I can read in detail, this man's name is Ruder Boskovic. Ruder. Ooh. Ruder. If I do make mistakes, I'm usually in the ballpark. I mean, obviously that's when I give an actual country speculation instead of something generic like ex-Soviet bloc. But even ex-Soviet bloc does narrow it down to a specific region of the world. So I still think it takes some skill. That's me patting myself on the back. Definitely moving on to a new country. Yeah, maybe my original speculation still stands, because who knows if they're actually in consecutive order anymore. I mean, alphabetical order. This one's easy. India. This is easy because first The bill clearly states in English that this is the Reserve Bank of India. But even if we miss that, the most famous Indian, Gandhi, is on this bill. So we know. India is one of those countries that I'm still yet to travel to. If I stay with my goal to travel to all 193 UN countries, I've completed 101. But the back 92, there are still some popular countries, but mostly harder, more adventurous countries. India is a half-half depending on who you ask. Of course it has the cultural, natural significance, Taj Mahal, wild tigers, etc. But I've also been warned by people from India about their treatment of women, which sadly still happens in a lot of the world. But I'm also reminded of some academics who describe that the history of the world is shitty to really all people across history. Okay, so obviously the question of alphabetical is been dispelled because this hammer and sickle has shown up again. This is that previous Southeast Asian country that I this time guessed was from Laos. And last time misspoke about being from Cambodia. So if I'm going to go back again, I'm going to double cross myself and really consider it Laos. I know it's from one of the two. I recognize the bill. The other thing that makes it difficult is if I did the countries in a continuous circuit or on the same trip, then the details muddy a little bit. But that'll always happen because the way I travel is I do regional zones. So usually the most expensive part of traveling is flying into a region or zone. But once you're in the region or zone, low-cost carriers make it cheap in between the countries. So for example, what was the airline? Air Asia, I think, that you can fly between a lot of Southeast Asia for really budget and cheap. About as cheap as the budget airlines in Europe, which are also very cheap. I mean, honestly, the cheapest flights I've ever had were actually in these countries, in these regions, in these zones, where you can have air flights for less than $20 a lot of the times. Now, obviously, when I mentioned $20 flights, I'm talking about flying off-season, but that's why I usually schedule such a long window for the trips, because then that allows me flexibility. Because yes, the budget airlines, you save a lot of money, but you have to be flexible to have your schedule stay. For example, flying into Africa, I did a whole circuit of small countries in Europe, and then Ryanair decided that because of a French airstrike, it had to delay a flight schedule. Because I built in so many buffer days, I could delay it easily without throwing my entire bush camping and flight into Africa out of whack. But again, every type of travel has its own pros and cons, and you gotta weigh each of them and travel according to how you see fit best.